In the last hour, government urged to tax pensioners and gift millennials £10,000 each. In the last 2 hours Tuesday briefing, Millennial have 10 grand business alive. Tuesday the 8th of May. In the last 4 hours, give all millennials £10,000 to tackle generation gap. Think tank says in the last 6 hours, give people £10,000 when they turn 25. Think tank says report, give people £10,000 when they turn 25. In the last 8 hours, give millennials £10,000 to tackle generation gap, says commission. Tax on pensioners proposed to heal intergenerational divide. Mind the gap. A new report aims to square intergenerational injustice. The Guardian view on generational inequality. It's time for a new deal. Yesterday, experts claim OAPs need to pay national insurance if the NHS is to be saved. It's time to properly abolish the poll tax. In the last 7 days, painter accused of pushing man off ladder, breaking his hip. Question time, asked about millennials, avocado toast and housing. Here are 5 changes to improve housing better for generation rent. Don't blame the baby boomers. Britain is changing and conservatives are failing to keep up. Houseplants are all the rage, but are they an urban? Renters cry for help. Truth behind starter home starts, exposed. Call to scrap inheritance tax as unfit for modern Britain. £250 million spent but no starter homes yet built under flagship fund. Should inheritance tax be abolished? Think tank calls for overhaul of inheritance tax system. Call to scrap IHT for lifetime receipts tax. Wednesday briefing, time to face max fact. Brexiters warn PM change tax on inheritance to raise more, says think tank calls for complete overhaul of unfit inheritance tax system. Why inheritance tax should be scrapped and completely replaced. Millennial home ownership collapses in the UK. Millennial home ownership rate collapses in Britain. Obsessing over empty homes is no way to solve the housing crisis. In the last month, while 1/3 of millennials rent for their entire lives. Are millennials poorer than past generations of young adults? Baby boomers hit by shattering impact of housing crisis. Bring back the bungalow to cope with aging population. Warn MPs number of young homeowners halves in 35 years. Home ownership for young families plummets across Britain, making home ownership a reality. Millennials are struggling. Is it the fault of the baby boomers? Millennial housing crisis engulfs Britain. Inheritance tax, could it be the answer to wealth inequality? It's no excuse. Why Tigger is struggling to defend awful figures. More funding and awareness needed on T-levels. Do we need disability employment quotas? Worried about owning your own home? You should be. Agenda, why rent should not be a 4-letter word. London housing crisis forcing workers to quit their jobs, says CBI Resolution Foundation proposes it to risking at PRS 5 policies that could improve housing for the renting generation. Letting agents are facing an epidemic of their own, making residents at Warren East lay over proposed development. Housing provider hails shared ownership as answer to rental crisis. Lower government borrowing doesn't prove austerity has been a success, reports Roundup. Deepak stages protests against Tory universal credit. Mum considered giving up her children so family could eat. UK 0 hours contracts hit 1.8 meters. 0 hours contracts rose by 100,000 in 2017. Amazon working conditions. Number of 0 hours workers stops rising. Kate and William can afford 3 kids, but many Brits can't. Kate and William can afford 3 kids. Many Brits cannot. Number of 0 hours contracts increases. No excuse for not paying living wage, says boss of Glasgow firm Zero. Good news on 0 hours contracts. 1 in 12 young people are working in 0 hours jobs. Number of 0 hours contracts in UK rose by 100,000 in 2017 on 0 hours contracts increased by 100,000 as workers more aware